Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen once again. It's Ronald here again, and some have been asking me how do I cut certain vegetables. So I'm like, why not? I'm gonna do a video about it. Every now and then we all cut different vegetables, whether you're cutting them for your salads or you're just basically cutting them for making certain food specific item. Basically today's all about cutting vegetables. So we're gonna cut a few different types of vegetables and talk about them, maybe about the shapes. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below, and we'll definitely get to you about that. Alright, so let's get started. So when you think of cutting vegetables, typically you could use all sorts of different cutting items that you may be having. You could have any type of a knife. There's this, there's that, there's a tiny one, there's a big one. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but it helps if your knife is sharp. That's very important. People don't realize that actually if your knife is dull or blunt, it's most likely to cut you more than a knife that is sharp, and I'm gonna show you the reasons why behind that. Okay, and we also typically, when you're cutting vegetables or peeling vegetables or potatoes, you have a peeler like that, or you use a knife. Again, I'm gonna show you all that. Okay, so I bought myself a few peelers right here, and I'm gonna show you what they're all about and how fun they are. And I bought them, I think 3 of these were about $12, although it took a long time to come to me, but it was worth it. So these are the vegetables we're going to be trying to peel and how we do them differently. We have the green pepper, onions here, we have a potato, we have carrot, we have a cucumber, we also have a tomato, as well as the lettuce. In this case we have the romaine lettuce. Okay, so let's start off with the carrot. Typically when you're cutting your carrot, you have your typical, as I said, peeler right here, or you have to just peel it down like that, right? Doesn't matter how fast you're moving, honestly, it's just cutting or peeling your carrot. Essentially you do the same thing with a potato anyways. And I want to show you here, whether you're using a knife or whatever, it's gonna give you different variations. So these are the ones that I bought. If you look at this, so if you see these teeth right here, the way it's raised, and this is the cutting part right here. So basically when you're using them, and this is why I fell in love with it when actually I saw it myself. So I'll show you an example here. See, once I do that, see that? If you're making a salad, you push it down like that, and you did that. See that? How it comes off? See that? They will come off like that. So imagine if you're making a salad with those. You can just shred it, of course, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you have your carrot and you just do that, we already know about this already. So you can shred it as well, and you always have a shredder box, of course. That's a cheaper way as well to go. Again, this is right here, as you can see, that kind of those kind of teeth in there, because this is flat, that's more like rigid. So when you're using that, so if you're using something like this or different teeth, it will give you something like that. So in this case, these are more like wider. See that? Those will be wide. If you're making maybe a cubed, so you have them a bit in smaller sizes like that, and all you're doing is just cubing them up. So that'll be your little cube carrots. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but you at least closer to what you want to have. As for the onion, it's not that hard, but it's just a few little tricks that makes your life easier sometimes. So if you cut an onion like that, it's very hard to actually cut it properly, and I'm gonna show you how. So this one right here, the way you cut your onion properly, not to bother you, is once I take that off, you start from this side, you see there's a root and also there's a tip. So I'm going to cut, say, right here once I'm done with that. And by the way, not to mention, you can see that the knife actually cuts pretty good. All you have to do before you do anything else is just cut it in half like that. Now, as you notice, I didn't take off the root because it's important for you to have the root to avoid onions going all over the place. So let's see. So I'll peel off the usual way, of course. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this. And you see the difference. See this right here, the root is open. This one here, the root is still on. So let's see what happens. So once you do this, say if you try to do that, see how hard it is. It's already breaking up, it's already getting off, and when you try to cut it all the way to the end, it then starts sliding into your hands. And I'm pretty sure if you have experienced that. Now the easy way to do it is keep on the root like that, and then what you need to do is use your hands. And by the way, whenever you're cutting, make sure your hands are behind like that. See, the hands are you guiding like that. And your knife, your hands are guiding the knife so that you don't cut yourself. You don't want your fingers to be like that. That's how you end up cutting yourself. So you want your hands lying back like that. It's like the pinching almost the onion or whatever you may be cutting. See that? As I go, my hands are moving forward, backwards. So once you're done, as you can see, this onion is not falling apart. It's all still together. At this point, you could put your knife through it like that if you want. You don't have to. In this case, I will. If I do that for smaller chunks, if you're making smaller onions, I will then slice these up like that. See that? At the same time, the root is still holding my onion, it's not falling off. So how easy that becomes. You cut the onion all the way to the end, right to the root, and all you're losing is basically that. You can even, that's it. But if I try to do the same thing with this onion which I showed you here, let's try this out now. Okay, I'm still lucky. That's good, that's good. But as I get to the end, see that? As I get to the end, look at that. I'm trying to cut them now, they're all doing that. And now, between these sizes and now these, that becomes harder and you cannot really continue with that. This is when you end up with chunked up or whatever, because I know you're cutting the size of onion depending on what you want. Okay? But if you're slicing it, it's definitely okay for you to just take off the root completely, just like this one is right now. If you make it straight like that, that's fine, because all you're going to do basically is slice the onion. Okay, so if I'm slicing it that way, see that? That is for you slicing lengthwise. But if you're slicing an onion for maybe like the ways you put on the burger or for the salad, sometimes some people like their onions chunky, so you would slice this way. Now you do that, see that? And by the way, someone also asked me, how do you cut yours so small? It's pretty easy actually. All you have to do is see my hands right here. Your hands are guiding the knife all the time. That's why if you hold it here, you may end up with a smaller chunk, a bigger chunk, smaller chunk, bigger chunk. Yet if I do my hands like that, again, it's my hands right here. So see this right here, my knife is going off my finger right here. So as I go, it's like that, see that? I move my hands slowly backwards as I go, and then you have basically perfect onions cut, and you can put this over your salad, your anything, and it will look that good. Okay, so again, the way to open up this baby right here is very easy without actually suffering with it, and also without making wastage. Now I'll cut it right here. If you see what I'm doing right here, so what I would do is closer to the edge. If I did that, see that? By the time I'm done, guess what? These are separated, and this is what I have. That's a waste. I'm still using other green pepper. Because what typically people do, either they just cut this up right here, or some people just cut through it like that, or throughout. And when you do that, you're cutting through that, and by the time you're done, most of the times, typically, you have this. Now some people tend to cut around it, and let's say you're cutting around it like that. Guess what? You're still missing some of it. It's gonna end up somewhere else, right? And that's gonna be a waste. But now we are still on this one right here, because again, it's been cut. I have this guy who's just come off like that, and then I'm gonna cut the other end. And the other end again, I will do the same thing like this. And all I have to do right now is that, because I'm just taking out the middle. Again, remember, your knife is always facing your cutting board. I'm putting my knife through like that. See that? Knife is not close to me. All I'm doing now, I'm holding this middle right here, and I'm doing that, and basically that's it. Now, what's my wastage? This is it. Because you know you won't be eating that. You won't be eating any of that, except if I make maybe a soup. I could just throw this whole thing into a soup to get some flavors. If I wanted to slice these up, maybe I want to just slice them up. Remember, whenever you're slicing, it means lengthwise. So I will do that. See that? That is sliced. Again, you can put this on your salad or whatever you'd be using it. Maybe typically when you're doing like a stir fry, you'll be using something lengthwise. Okay, so let's say you're doing a barbecue. All you have to do is basically, you could actually just cut 3 pieces out of that, and you're gonna string them on. You could make them like a bit smaller. This is what I would do personally, and I do that. Now put them onto the skewer together with whatever specific item you're using ready. Let's say the last part right now, if you want to be really fancy and want to take everything out, you do that. You want to push your knife down, and you want to do that. See that? And you push your knife down, and you want to basically do that. So you take all that out, although this is something you can use in your sauce, really. Now you want to make them tiny. In this case, if you watched my video for when I made the scrambled eggs, this is what I did. So basically I made them like that, lengthwise, and now I made them a bit tinier. In this case, I start off with a bit of strings, or it's like a shoestring. If they are that long, see that? I mean, that's already a beauty by itself. You can actually use it for whatever. But now, what I'm going to do is actually dice these up. And I will do this. See that? Now I'm getting something smaller for maybe if you're making like a chimichurri sauce, if you ever heard of that, or if maybe you're making some kind of again, scrambled eggs, or you're using them in something really that you want, maybe a dip. You want those things to be a bit smaller. And guess what? There you go. You have a little cube tomatoes. Red peppers. Here we have a cucumber right here. So if I slice that up, again, depending what you're using for. Some people love to do them maybe round, but it's always a good idea, by the way, to have a base to it, so that it doesn't keep rolling like that. So if I sliced, say, the bottom like that a bit, so that way I know I have something like that, so it doesn't actually keep moving back and forth, to actually protect you from getting cut. So what I will do here, again with my hands, to have the same sizes, every step of the way, is that again I have my hand that is basically protecting me, and as I go like that. So I could make actually spaghetti out of this. How do I do that? With this little fancy peeler that I got. So literally what I would do, as I said, if you remember that the teeth show on it, I'll just do that. Look at that. As I said, you could have your sort of spaghetti. Look at that. It's all stringy. It's all imagine you making a salad of this kind. It will look really good on top of everything else. all you have to, first of all, remember to keep your hands backwards and just do that. See that? And now you have your simple sliced up, and it's that simple. We have a tomato next. So it's a very simple innocent tomato here you're looking at right now, and you're about to destroy it. But the easy way to destroy that is simply not fighting it so much, because again, it's okay to do that. You can slice it if you want straight up like that. Some people do that, but what happens typically, they do a lot of wastage. Now, how do you avoid doing too much wastage? You can either hold your tomato like that and just literally do that. See that? If I put my finger, my knife through like that, and I just basically take all I'm losing right here, unless if you don't like seeds, this is what I'm losing. That's what is coming out. That's it. Again, you could do that. Again, remember, the trick here is making sure your hand is up here as you slice like that. That's how you end up with even sliced tomatoes every single time. Could be diced. Let's say we have this much here and we just want to get this diced. I'll just basically start doing that. See that? If I take that off like that, so that's the other option. In this case, I'll be just dicing these up properly. So next, what we have here is our potato. Again, potato, typically you just peel it, and there's different ways of peeling it. I, for one, growing up, we did peel potatoes differently. I only started using a peeler when I came to Canada, seriously speaking. So yes, I know here you do that, which is great, makes things fast as well. But hey, if you didn't have a peeler, what would you do? Is a question. I'll get my knife right here, and I did like that we used to do it back then. See that? I'll start from right here. I have my finger here controlling everything, so I will do that. See that? As I go around, that's it, and then you just still keep hitting it down like that. So yes, if you don't have a peeler, please don't spend the whole night without eating saying I didn't have a peeler to peel my potatoes. So you can still do it this way, and you can actually peel all the potatoes properly. It's that easy right there. The only difference though that I can tell you for sure, the peeler does a better job, I know for sure, because you save more of your potatoes more than when you're actually peeling it actually, because as you can see that, see those, and then you see this right here, you basically almost see this properly right here. So yes, use your peeler if you have it, because you do save more when you're actually cutting your potatoes. It all comes down to what are you using your potato for. Is it potato wedges? Are you dicing them up for maybe some sort of potato salad that you're going to be making? Are you slicing them up so you can use them as maybe you're making some kind of what you call it, scalloped potatoes? Like, what are you making at the end of the day? So it really depends. So, but remember, key, always put your fingers backwards when you're slicing the potato or dicing them up. But if I'm going to dice these up, I will again make them a bit smaller, as I said at the beginning, and just keep doing that. These are tiny, that means you can use this for your hash brown. It depends which hash brown you're talking about, of course, right? But this can be used for your hash brown also, something like that. The other way is slicing them up, depending what you're up to. Again, is the same thing, but as you can see, what's the trick behind this? My hand is guiding it slowly by slowly as we go. For this poor little innocent lettuce, well, it's all up to you what you're gonna do with it, of course, and it depends on the type of the salad you are making, of course. Typically when you're making a Greek salad, it's gonna be more chunkier. If you're making maybe a Caesar salad, slightly smaller than the chunkiness of the Greek lettuce. And also you don't necessarily have to, because some people take them off like that and then they cut them separately, which is okay. You can do that, but you don't have to. So I know if you're doing this, it's gonna take you time as you do that one by one, but hey, let's make this process a bit easier. What I need to do right here is just cut that off. See, once I do that, I just have to hold the lettuce together like this, and I will slice it like that. See that? Now it depends, as I said, what you're using your lettuce for. In this case, I have these small ones right here, but I'm holding everything together, right? Just look at that. Right? That's beautiful right there. Or I can make them a bit chunkier if that's what you prefer. So just make them chunky if that's what you wanted. Again, same thing as well. They'll look as beautiful as you want them, but it comes down to what you prefer. So now for the word of the day. The word of the day in this case will be really simple, I would say. So the word of the day is cutting. How do we say cutting? When you cut something, like right now we've been using knives, using different things to cut stuff. What do we mean by that? Cutting means in my language kusala. Again, cutting is kusala. When you're cutting something, that means kusala. As you can see, these are different variations of cutting vegetables we've just done today. And as I said, we have these chunky ones here to use for stir fry, stuff like that. Something like that for your salad, or a bit more, say, cucumbers which are diced up, or just sliced up like that. Then we have our, again, the green peppers or red peppers here. Some are diced, some are like that. Also onions, we have on the other side, some are long-wise sliced, or we have on the other way, like round, sliced up like that again for your burgers or salad. And then we have some which are cubed up. And for the tomatoes here, we have again cubes, and also we have slices for perhaps your burgers. And on top of that, we also have the carrots. So we showed those which are diced, of course. We've shown those which are shredded. We've shown those which are more stringy, again, and also we've shown those which are more like, what should I call these? They're strings, but they're more flappiness, really. I don't know how to call those. And then for the potatoes, again, we have those all diced up again, or we have some that are sliced, depending on what you're using them for, of course. Let's say you're making a salad with some of the different skills that we've just shown. Let's see how that works out, right? So we have our romaine lettuce, which we've just already cut up, as you can see that. That's a beauty right there. And I'm going to use the different vegetables we have. Now, if you see this right here, I will use this. If I'm going to lay them on one side because I want to show you different things. See those like that, the way they're looking? That looks good right there, honestly. And then if you look at the other ones, the other cucumbers again, which are more like nice again, you could use that, and those will look like that. See that? Or you would have those which are maybe sliced. Again, they would look that way in this case, right? And then we have our onions. If you have red onions or white onions, it doesn't matter what it is. So in this case, if I have these, those are more like, again, sliced up again. Or if you wanted those, which I don't recommend for salad, they would be way too falling apart, but some people like them that way because they don't want to be eating a whole onion or something. So I'll put those on the side here. Okay. Now, on the other side, we also have our carrots. Again, this is gonna give you a color to your salad. Again, if it's shredded, great, it will still look good like that way. But if you want those which are more like shoestrings, they will look a bit more, heightened a bit to give more volume. And also, if you're making the other ones which are more like, again, flappies like that, again, those will be like this, a bit more lengthwise. Okay. Now for the green peppers and stuff like that, I would actually typically use these big ones because I like mine to be a bit more chunky like that when I'm eating them. Or you could make yours with tiny ones like this. Again, they'll be more falling apart like that. Okay, I wouldn't recommend you to use these big ones for which that's for the salad really. But now for the tomatoes, we have you know, a bit more again diced, or you have these which again you can use if you want when you're making maybe for your burgers and stuff like that, right? Those also would look pretty good, I would say, right? You just have to really make up your mind what you want and how you want them, okay? So in a nutshell, guys, it does not matter how you cut your vegetables sometimes. As I said, all I recommend for you guys, make sure your knife is really, really sharp. That's important, so that you don't actually end up cutting yourself. I know, you're thinking, well, if it's too sharp, I'm gonna cut myself. No, you're most likely to cut yourself if it's actually dull, because you use so much strength when you push your knife down because it's dull. So if it lands on your finger, it cuts you like a lot. But if your knife can go through specific items you're cutting, like butter, you're most likely not to cut yourself too much. Well, again, you have to know how to hold the knife as well, of course, without saying that. We have our salad here. Essentially, I've just honestly put this stuff together to show you guys, but you use either or all of this stuff right here to make everything look great for you, okay? As usual, guys, if you like the tips that you've just seen right here, check the link above. I have a few videos up there, and also at the end of this video, side by side, there'll be some videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also leave me a comment or two of what you think and what else you would like to see in my videos. Thank you guys, and have a lovely day. Bye now.